What's a QBR? What's a TBR? And why do you need to present these to your clients on a regular basis? In this video, we are going to be diving deep into, and you might call it an ABR, an annual business review, but how do you deliver them? Why are they really important? Are there opportunities for upselling? And what should you actually present to the customer? How are you doing? My name is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs grow, whether that's sales training, marketing training, or even some business operations. Before I get into today's video, I do want to mention just two really quick things. Number one, if you're looking for additional resources on how to grow your MSP, hop over to our website, growth-generators.com/resources. It'll be up at the top, and you can grab sales cheats, SEO checklists. I mean, truly, there is so much opportunity here for you to just implement things that'll help you grow your business. And like I said, we're working on a rebuild of the website, but I'm having second thoughts. So number two is, if you like our current website and just want us to update it, let us know down in the comments down below. Or if you're like, hey, Harrison, we want a whole rebuild of your website, let me know. I'd love to have it in there as well, and love your feedback on those types of things. And kind of a three little bonus thing, gonna give you guys just a personal message right at the end, because I think it's pretty cool, and I had a pretty cool opportunity this past weekend. So if you're interested in checking that out, you got to wait till the end. So let's talk about a QBR. Now, I've heard it called a million different things after I've talked to a bunch of different MSPs out there. I used to call them ABRs, annual business review. Some people call them TBRs, technology business review, QBRs, quarterly business review. You could TLA it, three-letter acronym it, but it's essentially at its core a meeting with your clients to go over what's happened over the course of the year, right? That's really what you want to do with it. But there's some information here that we need to make sure that we cover in this to make it successful, because there are going to be potentially opportunities to upsell more things. There's going to be opportunities to just get a good pulse on how your customers feeling. How do they like the services? Anything like that. And in some cases, you might have customers that, quite honestly, don't call you all that often. And that's okay, but you still should do this because it's a good way to just get your finger on the pulse of the client. But first, we have to prepare one of these, right? We have to do some kind of data collection throughout this. We have to make sure that we really want to show performance-based metrics, right? To prove that, hey, we are doing a great job, right? You want to make sure that you show that you are adhering to your SLA, your service level agreement. You want to make sure that you show your ticket resolution times, system uptime, all of these client-specific reports. These are all really good things to have. Now, I pulled up my demo environment of Super Ops here, and you can get Super Ops, I believe, still for 40% off. There's a link down below. I am an affiliate of it, but they're offering it to all new MSPs out there. But you can go through. They actually have like a bunch of these laid out. Now, once again, this is a completely fake account, so don't don't worry about that. But you can go through. You're going to be able to pull these, and you're going to be able to actually download it as a PDF. And in some cases, like help desk activity report is something that you'd want to have, right? So the count of tickets, you want to make sure that you pick a time frame. In this case, right, we have Dunder Mifflin here, and then Goodman Associates, right? And you could go through and pull this report, or you can make a completely custom one if you're into making a completely custom one. Just make sure that you could either schedule this, and maybe it's, hey, you want to schedule it on a quarterly, semi-quarterly, right? And I think that's every other quarter, or at least annually every single year. And you can schedule those things out as well. But it's important to actually go through. You can have this sent to you. You can have this sent to your customers. I would personally present this in person versus going there and, or better yet, just having it automatically sent. But hey, if you want to do a monthly kind of report, that's also great. And they give you a bunch of default reports that you can use to help you with your TLA, your three-letter acronym, QBR, TBR, ABR, whatever you want to call it. But just getting that report, every RMM and PSA tool, I always say them both because they could be combined, right, can provide some level of reporting. Now, some are going to provide incredible levels of reporting, and some of them are going to report maybe not the best information. But either way, some data is always better than no data. But you also want to include in there any security incidents, system updates, usage stats if you can provide those, and depending on what other softwares that you might be using. For example, if you're using ActiveTrack, right, that's another great resource to have to just bring and show the person who's ultimately helping pay the bills, right? Your clients that are sending you the money. And any other business insights, upcoming projects, pain points that you might have addressed, and really just anything that you could think of that you know would be valuable to your client. You might have interesting clients that I can't even think about, right? I can't think about their needs, but you might have, oh, I never even thought about that. That's what you should be putting inside of this actual report. So you get your report, you print it out, you're all excited, right? Yes, we're going to use paper for this. I'm a big fan of leaving paper, right? Make sure you go through it, review it with somebody else in the office to make sure that the data is actually there. Now, we want to structure a meeting effectively, right? This is not a meeting that you want to be lollygagging in. There is a reason for this meeting. And in some cases, it's to upsell, get the pulse of how your client's doing, all of that kind of stuff. You have to have some kind of an agenda, right? In this case, it's going to be pretty simple. Reviewing the previous quarter or 6 months or year's report, right? You want to also discuss any client business updates, changes, needs that they might have. And also, while you're there, you are going to be hands-on in their environment. This gives you a huge advantage over any potential incumbent coming in, right? A potential competitor trying to sneak their way into that business. So how do we actually go about navigating that? We want to make sure that we discuss any client business updates, changes, and recommending, more importantly, any upgrades that they might need. Now, this could potentially lead to more sales, which is always going to be a good thing, but hopefully you become an expert in their industry. This is going to help you tremendously as you go forward. You're going to work with more and more clients, just like I'm privileged to work with more and more MSPs. I see what everyone else is doing. I get to bring that back to you guys. Now, thankfully, I have a ton of experience. I've done a lot of the things, but I learn from other people and then bring that back to you guys on YouTube. And next, you want to have a roadmap, whether that's the quarter, 6 months, 1 year. But hey, let's talk about some potential recommendations and upgrades that we have, good or bad. The client might just say, no, we're not interested. And that's perfectly okay. You don't have to consistently keep selling them more and more stuff. But if you do see something that's working for them, yeah, it would make sense to recommend those things or upgrades that they might actually need. And it doesn't always have to be about money. It could be seeing a different process. It could be truly just about, the way they operate, a process, a procedure that they're doing, how the business is structured. Just giving them feedback will help them consistently grow their business. And truly, just some quick little tips on this. Keep it conversational. This is not like hey, we're going to just drill through these things over and over and over and over again. And I just knocked on my wall, so if you hear my dogs, I apologize. They think somebody's at the door. But we also have to remember, they're not technicians. We don't need to talk about ports and WAN. Keep the jargon to a minimum, right? And if you can get visuals, whether that's pie graphs or anything else, that just helps it be a little bit more digestible when the client's actually reading it. So you want to go through step by step of your report with them. Recap those key metrics because this is really important. Any business updates that are currently happening or scheduled to happen. Their goals. Hey, once again, this is a conversation. What are your goals? Have they changed since we brought you on? Are there any upcoming changes that you guys are planning on that we need to know about? Any pain points that we haven't addressed yet or you'd like us to get ahead of that you could potentially see something coming up? You want to position yourself as a strategic partner consistently from the initial sale to them being onboarded all the way through. You are a partner of theirs. It's really important to embody that because they don't want to look at you as an additional expense. They want to look at you as a partner for their business. And you should be taking the reins on offering technology recommendations, right? Hardware, software, new services, security enhancement, anything like that. But we really want to make sure that we dial in to ROI focused language. We want to make sure that not only we have the ability to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. What's the ROI on that? In some cases, there might not be an expense, but they might still want to see an ROI on their time, on their money, on their efforts, something. And businesses can really understand that. So it's really important to know that that's what you have to go in with. And then last but not least, as you're wrapping that whole thing up, future planning, right? What's going to happen next? I hate when people have meetings and there's no action plan. There's no like, hey, great meeting, and you walk away and you're like, what do I have to do? Right? And once again, I know that some of you guys think that this is an ad for these guys. I literally make almost no money, but I wish this existed because this can give you those action points, right? I love recording meetings. I actually got pissed the other day. I was in a employee meeting with my team, and I didn't have my voice recorder on. I'm like, why are you so mad? I'm like, we've exchanged such good information, and we didn't write it down. I didn't write it down because I thought my note taker was in there, and even still, my brain is only so good. I could scratch it down and all that kind of stuff, but if my note taker is not in there, I almost feel handicapped, as bad as that is, because I'm not only used to it, but also it makes life so much easier, and it comes up with a synopsis. And I might go back to those conversations and see what's going on. Did we miss anything? Did we discuss a topic that we didn't have an action on? And that's important as well. So future planning is really important. In sales, we call it BAM FAM, book a meeting from a meeting. Kind of the same thing, but book an action from a meeting, right? What's actually going to be happening over that time period. And you might have some pushbacks throughout this period, right? It's not uncommon. Maybe the client thinks, hey, this is where you're just going to sell me more stuff. It's okay. Once again, use that ROI based language. They're still your customer, but you want to make sure that you really emphasize a long-term value. And a lot of this is to make their business more efficient, mitigating risks, all of those things that we know what to do and how to do it, and we're more than comfortable with it. The client doesn't always know these things, and it's really, really important to keep that in the back of your mind. When you're closing this whole thing out, we have to make sure that we summarize basically everything that we talked about, obviously, right? Get feedback. Feedback from your clients is so freaking valuable. There is so much opportunity to get feedback. Hey, what'd you like? I know that this is your QBR, but this is a great time for us to get feedback on what we could do better. What'd you like? What'd you not like? Is there anything that we could do to either meet your expectations more or potentially exceed them and consistently work on that more? And then just schedule another meeting, right? Book a meeting from a meeting, bam, fam. In this case, hey, we'll see you this time next year. I'm going to put on my calendar to reach out to you a week prior, or this quarter, same time next quarter, the 5th week of the quarter. Whatever it is that you decide is totally fine. You don't have to do quarterly. You don't have to do every 6 months. An annual touch base is pretty darn good, right? I would highly, highly recommend that. But just have something on the calendar so they can see it. Throw it on their calendar. It's worth putting in that extra 2 minutes. Do you mind if I throw something on your calendar for a year from now? They're not going to look at it until a couple weeks prior, but you now know that at least there's something on the calendar that you now remember they have to be somewhat committed to, and this is going to help you tremendously. But you have to be consistent throughout this process. This is not something that you can willy-nilly go out and hope that you're going to nail. Be consistent. If you're doing quarterly, stick with quarterly. If you're doing, I think it's semi-annually, whatever it is, 6 months, do that, right? Annually, just be consistent. And you might have other meetings throughout the year, but this is the important one, right? Focus on the business outcomes, right? What's going to happen if they do decide to buy, adopt, learn, anything like that. And document. And that's also why I push this stupid little device, right? It has to be documented, whether it's in your RMM PSA tool, whether it's in Hoodoo, IT Glue, it doesn't matter. But having documentation is important. Leave behind the documentation, the analytics reports, but also document what you talked about. Heck, record the meeting on your phone and listen to it over again. Did you say something silly? Did you make a promise that you can't deliver on? These are really important things that clients, you might not even think they remember. And sometimes they might not. But trust me, if they do, it's the last thing that you want to have happen. So make sure you document. Take the time. It takes a couple extra minutes to either document it, record it, and drop it in your system, especially so that way you can talk about it last year, right? Maybe even attach the reports that you brought to that documentation so that way you know, hey, this is what it was last year. This is what we did this year. This is the improvements that we made. Boom, massive ROI. Shows consistently, shows you're focused on their business outcomes. I mean, it hits everything a customer wants to see. That's truly, truly how you make it beneficial. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. I appreciate the heck out of it. Now, I did say I have a little personal message if you've made it this far in the video. I had the pleasure of visiting my grandfather this past weekend, which is also, I was getting ready on Friday, and I apologize I didn't make a video, and this one's late on a Monday morning. But he's 99 years old. He's a Vietnam veteran. I truly am blessed that I got to hang out with him. He's old, right? There's no beating around the bush. He might even watch this video, but my message is go say hi to your loved ones. Make some time. Entrepreneurship is crazy, truly. Spend time with them. This work will always be there. Make the time. It's important. Love you guys. I'll see you guys later.